The record button. You're all set. Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. It is Monday morning, Monday Mindset. This is Carol Stew, aka Naughty Boss Live with two
Sisters. Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, a crispy, cold, but very bright, sunny day, excuse me, in the Northeast. Great way to start your way. And there's always ways to kind of keep your mindset in check, even when, even when we're exhausted, even when things happen, shit happens. It's showing up for yourself, which is most important.
Yeah, and commitment to whatever you set out to do. And sometimes you got to pivot. We talk about that all the time. How do you pivot? How do you kind of rearrange things in such a way that is going to put you in a good mindset to fulfill what you want to accomplish? Check off those check boxes. And we often talk about Mondays being the first day of the week, but actually it's Sunday that is the first day of the week. And that is kind of a day that, give yourself an hour or so, check out your schedules. What is required of you during this week, and how do you plan accordingly? Now we know plans, as says, shit happens. You could have the best plan in the in the book, in your schedule, and Lord and behold, either forget something or there's a derailment or something occurs that kind of rearranges what you thought your week was going to be, or even your day was going to be. So how do you encompass all of those kind of moving parts to your schedule or what you want to accomplish, with also keeping a positive mindset in its preparation? If you are someone that writes everything down, whether it's sticky notes, whether it's a planner, whether it's a calendar, allow yourself extra time that is no time, meaning free time, to maybe change the direction or the timetable of what you wanted to happen, and allow yourself that, negotiation of your schedule. And I often compare it to running an event with a order of appearance. Now, depending on the type of sport, I just got off of a 4-day tournament with pickleball, which is obviously a different sport than chair and dance. Chair and dance runs on a 2 minute, 30-second allowance time for the performance. Then you got to allow times for the judges to score. And, you come up with this perfect performance order of appearance, and then, someone performs and they get injured. So you've got literally time to obviously help that injured athlete, or if it was a sick athlete, or maybe there was a malfunction in something, and then you now realize, okay, now I'm behind this amount of time. So frequently an event producer will put in slots that are open to allow that schedule to finally get back on track at some point. So are you doing that? Same difference with the pickleball tournament. You could start a division at a certain time, but because it's pickleball and their matches, there is no time limit. And sometimes you have a close game that goes back and forth, or they're both tied and it goes back and forth. And in this case, you got to win by 2. And that may take a while. So how do you encompass? So there's a lot of planning. Well, how do you plan your own life? How do you plan your own schedule for your week? Are you allowing that time frame to play catch up if you need it?
Yeah, that is so true. And you remember on a Mindset Monday, we had Kellina Powell on, the Deaf Queen Boss.
Yes.
Her book, by the way, Every Day I Am Just Deaf. And I just happened to move her book aside and opened a page, and I thought, this is perfect for what we're talking about. And I just want to share it with everyone.
Sure.
And this is what she says. Life's a roller coaster. You have no control. The only control you have is how you react. Life is empty. Life can make us stronger than ever. And I think that's just so apropos for Mindset Monday today.
Oh, it sure is. And I think a lot of people, you have some people that are definite planners, and then you have other people that are like, that can really control their schedule, and they do a great job of it. But is it overtaking your positive mindset that it's now become such a ritual that you must get it done, but it kind of stresses you out? So that doesn't put you in a good mood. But always preparation to a certain degree will make life easier for you. You know, nothing worse than getting up and what do I got to do today? Where am I supposed to be today? What appointments do I have? You know, am I supposed to be helping out a friend? You know, do I have time to get in my workout? You know, am I spending some time to just chill and really get those positive feelings flowing and those affirmations out to the universe? You know, am I allowing time for special things that need attention? So a lot of times that's a lot. Really, when you think about it, that's a lot to take on and have your mind kind of.
Whoops, and we just lost her. She was frozen. And then the audio went a little wacky, and I think she's signing back on. And of course, this is we always say the beauty of live podcasting. Carol Sue, are you with us?
I am. Can you know?
I can hear you, but we don't see you. I see your picture.
All right, hold on. All right, hold on. We have to try to fix that. It automatically does.
Okay, we're just checking all our settings here.
We're checking our settings, and for some reason, I see a video. This picture. See, this is the cool part of a podcast.
Oh, and we lost her again. I'm sure she'll be back for just a moment. And, you know, mindset is one of those mind things, right? That we strive to work at every day. And there is power in pen to paper. So, and of course, she's back. Can you hear us okay?
I'm back. Can you see me now?
Yes, I
I can hear you fine, but my video.
Yeah, your picture is frozen, but we can hear you. It's and now
I'm not really sure about that because
excuse me, and now the sound's going. We'll just wait for just a second here. See if we get her back. We're the internet gods, the Wi-Fi gods, whatever it is, are not being too kind to us today, but you know, and here I have to admit her again. Let's see if this does the trick.
how's that?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, these spooky things happen, and it was weird because on my end, you know, the video was going, and on your end it wasn't. So I said, you know what? Let's just back out of this meeting altogether and do a restart. And that happens on a Monday for most of us. Sometimes you got to do a restart, right? You're like, can I start that day over? So this was that case. But you know what? You know, it also just shows the commitment that we have to make sure that we are sharing in what we know is helpful to us, that in turn translates that might be helpful to you, and the commitment to that. So did I give up? No, I just backed out of the meeting, re-signed on, and you know, that worked out too. But going back to your point of what we were talking about, derailments happen and we're not in control. We always say that, and that was a perfect lead in from that book. We're not in control. The only two things that we are in control is how we act and how we react. So if you plan out the best schedule around and you've got it down to the T, like I'm feeling really good, and so you should, because you worked really hard at that. You're not in control of, you know, ding-ling-ling, Mrs. Ream, your child is sick. Can you come pick up your child? Or ding, 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 this is Dr. Warner calling. Did you forget your appointment today? No, it's not tomorrow. It is actually today. You know, those things happen. So are you going to get flustered? Are you going to get like, ah? We all do that sometimes, but ultimately take a step, take a deep breath, and then negotiate. Can I still fit it in my schedule? Is it a done deal that it's not going to work out? No big deal. I'll reschedule it. And a lot of times we have to reschedule ourselves with our fitness, with our health and wellness. But it doesn't mean we're going to, you know, panic over it when we shouldn't panic over it, because that doesn't do anything for your mindset. when you understand that, it's not the end of the world. I can do this. I can reschedule it, or guess what? I have to cancel that today. And if it doesn't work out this week, I'll just find another time that I can get it in. And I think the problem is people are too stuck on perfection. And when perfection doesn't occur, they get all frazzled. They get all they get mad at themselves, or why couldn't it work out this way? Sometimes we don't have the answer for that. But when you realize that today happens, you're going to start realizing that those things will naturally start to roll off your shoulders, and you won't get that anxiety or that fear or that anger or that frustration anymore, because all those pieces do impact your health and wellness, but your mindset. You got to keep a positive mindset, even in the most scrambled times of your life.
And that is really hard to do. In fact, a lot of our guests who have been on lately, when we've had, our pre-podcast chit chats, I spoke with Nikki Dorvac, who will be a guest in May. And one thing she said to me, which a lot of people have been saying, and I thought about this, she said, I really love the fact that despite like something happens, there's a tech issue or this or that, you guys are like, oh, well, here we are, blah, blah, blah. Just very nonchalant. And she said that meant something to her, because life isn't purpose. And although I do know how to edit video and audio, I'm more of a pro on the audio side of it. We've stayed true to how we are. And I think people really appreciate that, because I can't tell you how many times people have said to us, oh, I wish I could do that. I would be so frazzled if that happened. And trust me, when we first started doing this, I was very frazzled. I wholeheartedly admit that. Sometimes now it happens, and I'm, like this happened today. Like, when we first started, I would have been like, oh my God, this is, and I'm just like, oh, well, whatever.
No, and and why our podcast is different. It's not in a studio. Our homes, our offices are our offices. We're not in a studio. We're not using, the equipment that some podcasters use, because sharing a message doesn't have to be perfection in the sense of aesthetically looking, backgrounds and all that. Are those things absolutely wonderful and nice? They are. And we're not going to deny that. There's some podcasters that get on and they're also doing it live. And, you look at their studio and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. But a lot of people just do a podcast right from their own home, or their office is their studio within their home. And, while many use different types of equipment, when we have the, ability to kind of overlook those things and say, I'm not going to let, the not being able to get the expensive equipment stop me from getting my message out. I'm not going to worry about, do I have enough gigabytes, blah, blah, blah. Do I have that perfect ring light? What is my background? Do I got a shadow here or there? Of course, those things to someone that is a professional in the sense of that's important to them, kudos to them. But that has never been what we've been about. We've always been raw and real and true. We do our podcast not only from our homes, we do it on the road, we do it on the airport, we do it in a park, we do it at a pickleball court, we do it at a doctor's office, we do it while we're walking, while we're talking, while we're at the pool, while we're not at the pool, while the weather's crappy, maybe it's beautiful. We don't really put a price tag on the studio piece, because that's important. What's important to us, and a lot of those higher end podcasts have a lot of sponsors. We run the sponsors, something that we, might look into, but we still want to keep it raw and real and true to who we are. On my mindset and my goal and my vision has never been to be in some fancy studio to that degree. Would I like to get into more sponsors? Absolutely. because I think that would allow us to push the limit in some directions. But I still would always say, let's keep it. Hey, I can't get on at 8:30. Can we make it 8:45? I gotta go out and get my power walking. We have that ability. I can't do it today. Got a doctor's appointment, or we got to reschedule it till later on in the day. I like that because guess what? Not everyone has their schedule set in stone. No one has their schedule set in stone because life and time is not set in stone. So why not bring that rawness and realness and truth right to our viewers, right to our listeners. Sometimes we got good looking hair day, but most of the time it's who we are. So but that's not an important piece to what we have to say and what we want our message to be to other people. We want, life is, raw, real. And so why not reflect that in what we do every day on our podcast?
Absolutely. Think about that for a moment, the raw and the real. Like, I am not having the greatest of hair days. I desperately need to make it to the hairdresser. Now, would I normally show up on camera like this 3 years ago? Probably not. But, it's not the appearance. It's about showing up for what we represent as a team, what we represent individually. We both bring a very unique perspective to what we do and how we do it. And you know what? There have been a lot of people out there, excuse me, that have been inspired by that have, started their own things because we just, show up how we are. I mean, life is a roller coaster. And, there are messages.
So, Jan, what if you could think of one funny thing to tell our viewers and listeners that you did differently? In other words, you did get made up, or you wanted that perception of, I'm going to kind of get dressed up today or look better today. Or do you have I already have a funny one in my brain that happened, but do you have a funny one that you can share? Because this is the funny part. It's like a bloopers reel. You try to do your best and then you're like, why did I bother?
Well, yeah, I always say, speaking of bad hair days, if the worst thing I have to complain about is a bad hair day, I think I'm having a pretty damn good day. But, that would throw me off. And the funny thing that I always think of is when I was recording once and I had to view the video for whatever reason, because I was missing some stuff and I wanted to listen to it again, but I also wanted to see it because I'm a visual learner. If I can see it and listen to it, there's more of a connection. Right. So I had paused the video and I'm writing down some notes, and then I go to hit the play button again. But I don't know how I did this, but it was, excuse me, it was in slow motion. So it showed me turning my head or doing something like that. And I still had on the enhanced facial features. So it showed the eyebrows kind of dancing across the screen. And I'm like, oh my God, I started cracking up. I'm like, that is hysterical. I'm like, oh my God, what if somebody saw that? And I'm like, okay, well, maybe somebody probably did. So what? They probably had a great laugh like I just did.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Well, a lot of people are really into the magnetic eyelashes, or, just the fake eyelashes to enhance their eyelashes. So I said, oh, I'll try it one time. And one of them was kind of cockeyed, and I didn't have it quite on right. And the more I talked, the more it kind of got, at one point it was in my eye, and I was trying to blink to move it back. And I'm trying to strategically just kind of get back up as it's falling down. I'm like, oh, I will never do this again. Plus, I've got very sensitive eyes. I am wearing less and less eye makeup because my eyes, geez, as I age, are just more sensitive. So I've got to be very careful. I just came off of probably a month ago where both eyes were really swollen. So I really, for a whole month, I've only worn mascara. And I love the brand, not because it's the name Thrive, but it is the cosmetic company Thrive. They got really good mascara on. Actually, I don't even have any on today. Oh, well. But, those are the funny things that occur. Like, you try to get kind of like looking good to go on camera. And whenever, the thing's starting to, I'm blinking and now it's getting in my eye vision. It was kind of funny. I thought, whatever. I shouldn't be wearing them anyways because I'm sensitive to that kind of stuff. And then I proved myself right because it didn't quite work out. So, I was trying not to laugh at the same time because I think we were talking about a serious subject. And I was like, trying to blink, get it up. But those are the funny things. And I'm sure that there are many professional, when I say professional podcasters, those that have major sponsors, they've got blooper reels. Blooper reels beyond I can imagine, because life isn't perfect, even though theirs is probably extremely edited by the time it is featured. So they've gotten all that. Our bloopers happen as we're doing our podcast. So we don't, little side things that happen, they just roll off our back now. We don't care.
Yeah, because we are live podcasters. And a lot of times when I say, well, we are live podcasters, and people are like, okay, well, I don't get it. Well, we're live on Facebook. And then of course, I'll get the recording and upload it. So this is live podcasting.
No editing.
No editing whatsoever. And you know what? We like it that way.
Well, that's true because you're living life and it's live and happening. You can't edit your life. You can, if something happens, you can say, oh, I'm not going to do it that way again, or I'm going to try better that way. Or, even though that didn't happen, it was kind of funny. Like you don't get a redo. You can get a redo on some things to improve, but at that particular situation, when it's live and it's happening and it's living that life that's happening, you just go with it. Directions of the bloopers and the derailments are there for a reason. They're either going to make you laugh, which we know laughing is a great thing for your mindset as well as your overall health and wellness. But it might be a teacher. Maybe it brings you now to a new direction, a new goal. You maybe and something new that you want to check off on your to-do list. So we love all that. Have a positive mindset. See the humor in who you are. Laugh at it because that's going to help your mindset as well. Do some planning. Keep the organization going, but don't let it over empower you that you have to stick to that and that you don't have that wiggle room to make the flexibility of life that you need to.
Absolutely. And on that note, we need to come up with, we've been so busy last week, of course, with, taxes, pickleball university, all that stuff coming up. We need to come up with a question of the day.
Okay, my question of the day would be, you go first. I got to think about that one.
Well, I think the question of the day, something with adversity.
Right.
Like when something happens, do you crumble and if you crumble, do you get yourself up? How do you do that?
Right. I like that. And that's true. I mean, can you, what is the driving force to pick yourself up?
I like that. What is the driving force if you have a derailment?
Right. Because we all have them. You're going to sit there and, be mad at yourself and give yourself invite people to your pity party, or you're going to say, you know what? I can't do this. I got to retry it again, or I got to rethink how to do it again, or I've got to make sure that I allow the time that I need to accomplish what I need and want to do. And even with that, if you fall, you got to pick yourself back up because we are all special creatures. We are all have gifts and we all have blessings to share that we want to make sure get out to the world.
Absolutely. And so you heard it. For the question of the day, what is the driving force to get yourself up if you have a derailment? Please feel free to go to our website, www.TwoSistas, SISTAS.online. Fill in one of those contact forms, or you can, of course, leave us a voice message. I did have a question about leaving a voice message, so now obviously would be a great time to share the answer to that. So when you go on our website, of course, it's going to look, if you're on a desktop versus on your smart device, the smart device, of course, will be a lot smaller, but the little microphone is on your right hand side. If you're on your device, you just may need to look for it a little harder. If you are on your desktop, you can see it as clear as day. Again, it's on the right hand side.
Lower, the right lower side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right other side, and it's a microphone, and you can just hit that, and of course leave us a voice message. We love receiving them. And on that note, we hope that you have an amazing Mindset Monday. Today is Monday, March 27th. Wow, April is fast approaching. My name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with Two
Sisters, and this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss Little Horse. After a 4-day successful pickleball tournament, we had some amazing matches. So shout out to PBU, and I believe we had 105 volunteers that made our event such a success. So yes, I'm a little bit hoarse, but it was a great 4 days, and now it's I've got a lot of work to do. Same thing, taxes, get all that stuff done. But in addition, I got another cheer and dance tournament coming up, so I got to rest my voice for that one. And you know, it's all good. We love what we do. This Sista on Two Sisters excited for Monday Mindset, and we hope you all are too. Enjoy your day, and remember, positivity is going to go a long way for not only you, but for the world. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow for Triumph Tuesday.
Bye, everyone.